This video is sponsored by Topps MLB Bunt. Topps Bunt is an officially licensed MLB card trading app that's currently running a patriotic card set to celebrate Independence Day. I pulled this motion Justin Verlander, and also available is Joey Votto. Ironic. Download Topps MLB Bunt for free using my link in the description. July 12th, 2016. It wasn't that long ago, yet it's a time that feels completely alien to us now. Major League Baseball's finest, and Addison Russell, congregated in San Diego to play the All-Star Game. The American League won 4-2, with Eric Hosmer claiming MVP, but one of baseball's brightest stars was nowhere to be found. Joey Votto wasn't bad in the first half of 2016, but he was certainly below his usual level of performance. He does, however, tend to improve as the season rolls along. While Votto didn't participate in the festivities that summer, he would have the last laugh. He was going to do something special in the coming months, something that in the past would put you on the pantheon of hitters, but now seems to be impossible. He was going to hit 400. Why are there no more 400 batting average seasons? Let's break it down. There are 3 ingredients to getting 4 hits every 10 at-bats. Ingredient number 1, avoiding strikeouts. As I always say, the thing about strikeouts is that they're always outs. Ingredient number 2, batting average on balls in play. It's not enough to just put the ball in play and hope for the best. The league average BABIP, which is the abbreviation I'll be using for batting average on balls in play, is around 300. So if an average hitter were to end every at-bat with a ball in play, they'd hit just 300. Thankfully, ingredient number 3 comes to the rescue. It's a special, new type of hit discovered by an alcoholic pitcher in Boston about a century ago. If you hit the ball over the fence, it's always a hit and never in play, he slurred. So let's build our ideal 400 hitter. The best at avoiding strikeouts in 2019, Hanser Alberto, who struck out in just 9.5% of at-bats. Last year's highest BABIP crown goes to Yoan Moncada, an insanely lucky 406. That's the second highest BABIP since integration in 1947. It's really not a normal league-leading batting average on balls in play, but we'll stick with it. To get a better idea of how BABIP works, I would estimate that players can maintain BABIPs as low as 250 and as high as 350 throughout their careers. Anything above or below that is what I'd call the luck zone. Obviously, the higher, the luckier you are. When it came to hitting home runs, at least on a rate basis, nobody topped Nelson Cruz, who fought off Father Time to go yard in 9% of his at-bats. If you combine those 3 ingredients, you arrive at a batting average of 421. Lovely. So, what's the catch? These 3 ingredients are in direct conflict with one another. Now swapping to strikeouts on a plate appearance basis, here are the top 10 hitters by K percentage in 2019. Hi David Fletcher. Of these 10, Yuli Gurriel and Alex Bregman are the only ones with an above average home run rate. Now let's look at the players with the most home runs. Suddenly, it's strikeout rate that becomes a huge problem, as home run hitters accept more strikeouts due to their plate approach. But it's perhaps the relationship BABIP has with these two that's the most discouraging. Home runs are typically fly balls, but fly balls have the lowest batting average on any batted ball category. The low strikeout guys are contact machines, but a lot of that contact is weak contact, which prevents them from putting up elite BABIPs. And even though we were able to build a 421 hitter from Alberto, Moncada, and Cruz, Moncada is really doing some heavy lifting here. If you swap in JD Martinez and his league-leading 375 BABIP in 2018, we're suddenly stuck with a 396 hitter under the most ideal circumstances possible. The BABIP ceiling has shifted as well. If you look at baseball pre-integration, back when players actually hit 400 in a season, the highest BABIPs are way higher for a multitude of reasons. Keep all this in mind as I talk about Votto. The forces of the game don't want him to hit 400, and yet, for half a season, he did just that. While Rogers Hornsby and Ty Cobb may spring to mind as the kings of hitting 400 in a season, Joey Votto's game is much more similar to that of Ted Williams, who is still the last person to accomplish such a feat. Votto is a disciple of Teddy Ballgame. The science of hitting is his Bible. Just hear for yourself.
I carried the book with me, and I've read it several times over, and anytime I have any doubts when it comes to hitting, I go to the book, and it's served me really well. So
By the way, here's another clip from that interview.
His ages 35 to 39 were not too dissimilar from his peak OPS plus. From his career OPS plus, which is really all you should pay attention to. So for anything, I'll use Baseball Savant's expected numbers, and it says I'm doing well, which I really do feel like I'm doing well.
I love Joey Votto so much. The sky is blue, grass is green. Joey Votto and Ted Williams walk. These are simply facts of our existence. Votto leads all active players in walk rate, Williams leads all time. Votto leads all active players in on-base percentage, Williams leads all time. And while walks don't directly impact batting average, what they can do is cut down on the sample size of batted balls over the course of a season. After all, the higher the sample size, the lower the chance of getting a lucky batting average on balls in play. But here's the catch. It takes patience to walk at a high rate, and the challenge becomes taking pitches without striking out. Every 400 hitter walked more than they struck out. Ted Williams in 1941 is perhaps the most disturbing of them all, generating 147 bases on balls while striking out just 27 times. How is that even possible? Just 2 qualified hitters avoided striking out more than they walked in 2019. Carlos Santana, who shares a name with a famous guitarist, and Alex Bregman, who's himself a noted percussionist. In the second half of his 2016 campaign, Votto walked 47 times to just 32 strikeouts. That's just one piece of the puzzle, but it definitely helped him reach the 400 mark. That ratio was aided by Votto's exaggerated choking up on the bat, which he has done for most of his career in 2-strike counts, and it gets him out of some tense situations, even if he doesn't always come away with a hit to raise his batting average. Since 2010, he has a .560 on-base percentage in plate appearances that reach full count, the best in baseball. So, Votto clearly has some skills, but what happens when he puts the ball in play? You might be surprised. Joey Votto, who wasn't an all-star that year, started his 2016 second half with a 17-game hit streak, 8 of which were multi-hit games. In that stretch from July 15th to August 3rd, he hit 500. He got a hit in 50% of at-bats and reached base safely in over 60% of plate appearances. Is that good? Votto's assault on the second half of 2016 was driven by some massive games. 4 for 5 versus Milwaukee on July 16th, 4 for 4 versus St. Louis on August 2nd, 4 for 5 versus Milwaukee on August 13th, 4 for 5 at Pittsburgh on September 10th, and finally, 4 for 4 versus Pittsburgh on September 18th. See a pattern? He saved his best for divisional opponents, hitting .419 and racking up 67 hits in just 41 second-half games against his rivals. Votto's one of the best hitters of his generation, but he doesn't take a home run-centric approach. Still, he managed to hit 15 homers in that stretch, which certainly aided his average. That's 15 hits where he doesn't have to worry about BABIP luck. Speaking of BABIP luck, he had it. A .418 BABIP for the half. How much of an outlier was this? If it was over a full season, it'd be unheard of. But when you lower the possible sample size, you'll see that JD Martinez had the exact same batting average on balls in play during 2016's second half. One might fear for Votto's ability to generate a good BABIP because he's a left-handed hitter who isn't quick to first base, but rest easy that he's not a shift victim. Votto isn't particularly pull-happy. He uses all fields. Another thing that aids his quest for a higher batting average on balls in play? Line drives. From 2015 to 2017, Votto was 12th out of 232 batters in line drive rate. Line drives have by far the best chance of becoming hits. Votto also managed to solve the fly ball home run problem. Homers are free hits, but fly balls have bad batting average. The solution? Hit homers when you hit fly balls. In that 3-year stretch, over 20% of Votto's fly balls left the yard, compared to a league average of just 12.7%. The end result makes Votto a surprise BABIP king, rocking the second highest BABIP among active players with at least 3,000 plate appearances, as well as the third highest BABIP among post-integration hitters with at least 5,000 plate appearances. All of this is to say that Joey Votto's patience helps in more ways than one. When he makes contact, good things happen. So with the magic numbers of 32 strikeouts and 15 home runs and 262 at-bats, as well as a .418 BABIP, he did it. Those ingredients add up to a .400 batting average, but he actually hit .408 with the help of 5 sac flies that weren't counted as at-bats. It was only half a season, but for a significant stretch of baseball, he truly was Ted Williams. At the All-Star break, he was the 30th best hitter in the National League by WRC+, By the end, he had ascended to the number 1 spot. You can probably guess why I chose to do this topic. We're staring down the barrel of a previously unheard of 60-game regular season. What can we learn from Votto's 2016? Did you ever hear the tragedy of Billy Grabarkowitz the Lucky? Billy Grabarkowitz was an oft-injured infielder who played for 5 teams in his 7-year career. The only year he was a full-time starter was 1970, and for the first half of that season, he was incredible, slashing .341, .445, .498 in 83 games. His batting average suddenly placed him in the company of Hall of Famers Tony Perez, Roberto Clemente, and Frank Robinson. He even made the National League All-Star team. For half a season, he was a superstar, and for the rest of his career, not so much. What gives? It was driven by BABIP luck. His batting average on balls in play was .470, compared to .276 for the rest of his career. If you look at the highest BABIPs anyone has managed in half a season since 1947, Votto's 2016 second half is high, but it's only 29th. His second half of 2015 is 3rd. Ichiro in 2004 finishes runner-up to old Billy BABIP. That was when Ichiro, no joke, hit .429 in the second half while pursuing George Sisler's single-season hit record. In fact, Ichiro and 1983 Rod Carew are the only hitters in the top 10 who managed to hit .400 over their respective halves. It just goes to show that Votto's skill was more necessary than his luck, although both were needed. In 2020, players will have to run the gauntlet for just 60 games compared to the usual 162. This gives fans an opportunity to see something that's otherwise impossible given the direction the game has taken: a .400 hitter. The chances are still remarkably slim, but Cody Bellinger is a candidate as he hit .400 through his team's first 49 games last year. The last player to carry a .400 average through the first 60 games of a season? Chipper Jones in 2008. Mike Trout is also a candidate because he's basically a right-handed Votto with more homers and strikeouts. But my actual pick goes to Christian Yelich. I can combine Christian Yelich's second half of 2015 and first half of 2019 magic numbers to get him to a .398 batting average. That's pretty darn close. I also wouldn't forget that Vlad Guerrero Jr. hit .402 in 61 games at the AA level. Again, the chances are still quite slim, but we could see someone at least flirt with .400. It would be the first serious chase since Tony Gwynn's pursuit of the mark was shut down by the strike in 1994. The game doesn't have any obvious Tony Gwynn or Ichiro types at the moment, so it's Ted Williams, and by proxy Joey Votto, who seemingly provide the blueprint for a modern .400 hitter. 2020's batting champion will likely take advantage of the league's skyrocketing home run rate, but the greatest enemy is still strikeouts. And if someone pulls off the feat in a shortened 60-game season, does it count like it would over the full 162? No, of course not. But it would be fun. Let's have some perspective here. Nothing is guaranteed this season. If COVID has some BABIP luck in the second half, I can only hope the league will have the wisdom to end it prematurely. And even if it is completed, the results will be scrutinized. But we'll also get to see numbers we otherwise wouldn't see. It might not even be a chase for .400. It could be a starting pitcher finishing with an ERA under 1, like Jack Flaherty did in the second half of 2019. Or it could be a team pursuing the all-time best winning percentage. I think that's a good thing. It'll give us something memorable. These are not normal times. If we're going to, against all logic, play baseball in this country, let's get weird. This episode of Baseball Bits was brought to you by Topps MLB Bunt. Topps MLB Bunt is a baseball card app that allows you to rip open packs featuring your favorite players, as well as trade with baseball fans around the world. The app gives out constant freebies. You can spin the wheel multiple times a day to win guaranteed prizes. Finish a collection, and you'll also unlock a special reward card. Topps is currently running a limited time red, white, and blue card set to commemorate Independence Day, so definitely don't miss out on these special cards. You can install Topps MLB Bunt using my link in the description. Take care.